In this installment of Translators Corruption of Scripture, we'll talk about Philippians 2:6. Many of the nearly inspired versions, as I call them, render this verse as, for example, the NIV as being in very nature God, or that Jesus always had the nature of God, being essentially one with God, or that he was simply God. But other translations, and hopefully that's the one you have, simply say that Jesus was in the form of God. Now, the Jesus in question, by the way, from the context, verse 5, tells us that Paul is talking about Jesus while he was on earth, not of some Jesus before he was on earth or after he left earth. Now compare the Greek word there, morphe, with Philippians 2:7, where Paul goes on to use the same word in a different form to talk about the fact that Jesus was in the form of a servant, although he was obviously King Messiah. Now I want to show you here how this word is used in the Old Testament as well. Isaiah 44 says that the carpenter measures the wood, he outlines a figure with chalk, carves it out with his tools, and makes it in the form of a man. So the context here is about pagans and their idols. Greek New Testament, you'll see that it's the same form, it's the same word used in Philippians 2:6, and it simply means in the shape of a human being, although these idols obviously are wood. Job 4:16, in the Greek version, the spirit stood still, but I could not discern its appearance. A form was before my eyes. Again, the same Greek word, and it has nothing to do with being in the very nature or any other metaphysical meaning. It simply is talking about the form of something. And an extra biblical work here, the Maccabeans. Parents impress upon the character of a small child a wondrous likeness both of mind and of form. So it's not surprising that many scholars agree. The ESV Bible study, form could also be a reference to Christ being the ultimate image of God, the exact imprint of his nature. It might also refer to the fact that he is the visible expression of God's invisible glory. In another book, Truth in Translation, we read that the Greek word is fairly generic. It can mean a number of things, as we saw from the Old Testament quotations, but it does not mean nature or essence, nor does it signify that anything was or was one with something else. These translations don't translate the Greek, but substitute interpretations of their own that are not based in Paul's language at all. Therefore, they are inaccurate and their bias is evident in what they try to import into the passage. And what they're obviously trying to import, the notion that Jesus is somehow in very nature, Catholic Protestant Creed states he's true God of true God, which is again an impossibility because Jesus clearly says that the Father is the only one who is true God in John 17:3.